Hi, folks. Sty. Time for another Sty Story. Boy, I've been really putting out the Sty Stories this round. Um, Actually, what is this? This is one, two, three. This is the fourth Sty Story I've filmed in this round. Um, and we'll get right to it. This one's titled, I Just Want to Ride. Okay. This goes back a ways. Again. Um, my younger days. The ex-wife and I, we only had the oldest boy at the time. He was about 2 years old. Maybe 2. And I needed to escape for a little while, just get out and go do something. So the ex-wife said, take off, go do what you want. And what I did was I decided, well, I'm going to throw a couple fishing poles in the trunk of the car. I'm going to go out to this one. It's like a game preserve. I'm going to do some hiking. And they got a nice little lake there. You can catch some awesome panfish, really big sunfish, nice crappies in that lake. I thought, then I'll bring some fish home for dinner. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll spend the whole day out there. So I did. I took off. I get out to this preserve and couldn't ask for a nicer day. It was kind of cool. It was still in the spring of the year. Snow had been melted off and the ice off the lakes for a few weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks. And I thought fishing might be okay. We'll see. It's a little early. And don't go there with the fishing license. We won't talk about that. I mean, you fish when you can fish. I don't know. They set those license dates around their schedule or something. I don't know. Well, it was back then anyway. I follow the rules nowadays. But anyway. So, I'm enjoying myself. I'm fishing. I notice clouds are rolling in. And I thought, boy, oh boy, if it starts raining, it's going to be miserable. It's going to be really rotten weather. Because it's cold. And if it starts raining, it's yuck. So, I caught a fair amount of fish. Put them in a bucket. Put everything in the trunk of my car, and I'm heading home. Well, back then, my vehicles weren't always terribly dependable. And I had a bad exhaust on that car. All of a sudden, the exhaust pipe decides to slip. It had a flange, and it held the 2 lengths of exhaust pipe together, and it had slipped out of that flange. And now the car sounds like it's got straight pipes, and I got to drive through town. And I thought, I'm not making it through town without getting a ticket, so I'm going to have to get under there and somehow strap that pipe up. Well, it also filled the car full of carbon monoxide. It stunk like mad in the car because of that. So what I did was I got out of the car, and it was a 4-door. I opened both of the front doors and the off-road side back door. Got in my trunk, found a couple old coat hangers. Back then we always carried at least a half a dozen coat hangers in the car, and you always had a good pair of pliers. So grabbed a couple coat hangers, dove under the car, and I could hear this pitter-pattering. Then I realized it's starting to rain. it's starting to rain. And it's cold out. Now I'm going to get wet and cold. So I'm not too happy. And I'm under there trying to handle the steaming hot exhaust. And I finally get it wired up into place so that it's acceptable enough. I can get myself home, and then I can fix it at home. So I get out from under the car, throw the pliers in the other extra hanger in the trunk, slam the trunk, went around, closed the back door on the car. Wasn't even paying attention to anything. Just want to get out of there. It's raining. I'm getting wet, soaking wet here. Slammed the passenger side front door, walked around the front of the car, came to the driver's door, and I stopped and froze in my tracks. Here's this mutt sitting behind my steering wheel. Now I say mutt because it is a mutt. I don't know what kind of dog that was, because he looked like he had 30 different breeds. He was just the ugliest, muddy looking dog you ever seen. He was just a mutt. And I always thought, well, at least mutts are generally friendly, you know. And he's sitting in my car behind my steering wheel. And I go, you get out of there. Oh man, he turned up and he started growling at me. I go, don't you growl at me. That's my car. You get out of there. He wouldn't get out. And it was like he didn't want to get out because I was standing out there. So I walked way off to the side, said, come on, get out of there. And all he'd do is look around the corner out that car at me and like, are you kidding? It's raining out. I'm not getting out. So I thought, I'll fix him. I went around, opened the other door on the front of the car. And I started yelling at him. And I was going to start going in the car to try to chase him out the driver's side. He comes shooting right over, sat in the passenger side, and turned and started growling at me again. And now his hair's on him. Just growling, mean. And I thought, you better not have rabies, you little mutt. Well, by the time I was done, I had all 4 car doors open. And he isn't getting out. If I go to try to chase him out of the front of the car, he'd jump over the back of the seat into the back seat. And he'd bark and growl at me. And then if I go into the back seat trying to chase him out the side, he'd just jump in the front seat, turn around and growl and bark at me. He would not get out of my car. And I couldn't figure out what to do. And by this time, I'm soaked to the bone. So what I did was, I closed all the doors on the car except the driver's door. And now he's gotten in the habit where if I went at him, he'd move to the opposite side of that seat. So I get to the driver's door and I started yelling at him, get out of there, get out of my car right now, get out. He runs over to the passenger side by the passenger door. So I slowly slide into the car behind the driver's wheel, you know, steering wheel. And I'm looking at him and he's just sitting there staring at me like, what are you going to do? I started the car and I still got the door open in case he decides to attack me. But now he's not growling or anything. He's just staring at me like, what are you going to do to me? And I thought, okay, I'm going to take him straight to the pound. If he'll ride with me, he's going straight to the pound. So I closed the driver's door, started going down the road. I turn and I look. He's laying down in the seat, getting himself comfortable. Because I had turned the heater on, and he's loving it. And he's just laying there looking at me. And he's bone dry because he got in the car before it rained. I'm soaking wet. He rode all the way home with me because I went straight to the Humane Society pound. And there's a great big sign there. We're closed. See you Monday morning at 8 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize that, A, It's Sunday. No, there's nobody there. There's animals there, but there's nobody there to take one. So I decided I'll stop at the cop shop. I stopped there, and the cops just laughed at me. They said, well, you got a dog till tomorrow morning, because we're not taking it. We're not dog catchers. We're not taking it. And this dog didn't have no collar, didn't have nothing, no markings, nothing. So I figured he's got to go to the pound, because I'm not keeping it. It's mean. That thing wouldn't let me in my car. It wouldn't get out of my car. So I get home, pull in the driveway, get out of the car, and he's sitting there in the passenger seat looking at me. And I thought, you monster. Slammed the door, and my ex-wife come out the door, and she goes, what are you doing? What are you so upset about? I said, look in the car. She goes, whose dog is that? And I said, I don't know. She goes, well, then what are you doing with it? I said, I ain't doing nothing with it. I said, it got in my car, wouldn't get out of my car. I've been trying for the last 2 hours to get rid of that dog. I said, he won't get out. I said, and he growls and he barks at me if I try to get him out of the car. And she goes, oh, really? I said, yeah, here, I'll show you. I went over and I opened that passenger door. Guess what he did? He comes walking right out, wagging his tail, and he walks up to the ex-wife like, oh, you're a nice person. And he comes over to me like, thank you for the ride. Friendly as can be. The little monster forced me into giving him a ride to our house. We ended up keeping him for, oh gosh, I think we had him for a couple of weeks, and then I found a good home for him. And he went to a good home. He lived happily ever after, I'm sure. Unless he hijacked somebody's car again. That's what he was a little carjacker. But when it comes to dogs, Sty has had so many unusual encounters with dogs. Some very, very good encounters, happy encounters, fun encounters, and some of them downright frustrating and just lack any kind of reason whatsoever. So there's a dog story for you from Sty. That's the end of this one. I've got a couple other dog stories that pertain to dogs that I owned personally, but we'll get to those some other day. So for now, hey, watch for my next one. This is Sty saying you all keep hanging around and have a very nice day. Bye-bye.